Hello, hello to all of my loved ones. How are you all doing? This is Love Marlene 411, and I have my co host, Miss Nexie.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Miss Marlene. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. Welcome back. We're back, Miss Nexie.
Yes, we are. We're back and we're refreshed and we, as the title says, Miss Marlene, what does it say? Taking a break from what?
Everything.
From everything. Yes, ma'am. And it's always good to do that from time to time because you desensitize to the routine and you get to, kind of relax and refresh and recharge and just be in in your feelings. You get to do whatever you want. That's what you want.
Yeah, and I think that that's so important for us to take a break from everything. So, first off, we're going to talk about the first one that most people really do not take breaks from, and that is from our immediate family, like your kids, your relatives, spouse, significant other, from the people that you are around most of the time. Now, and I don't mean it in a bad way, like you're trying to get away because you don't like them, but for our well-being, for our self-awareness, we need to take a break from them so that we can be okay.
And you know what, Miss Marlene, as a parent, I think we were talking about this a few days ago. As a parent, a lot of times you forget that is, your given right. You can take breaks. It's okay to take breaks from your children. Okay to take breaks from your significant other, and it's okay to take breaks from your extended family. And sometimes it's even okay to take break from you, from yourself, from what I mean, from your routines. And a lot of times, and I'm telling you this because I am guilty of it. I forgot about me for a very long time. It was all about the kids, their school, their activities, everything. And it was no breaks for me. It was go, 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 go nonstop.
Yes, 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 Miss Nexie. And we're getting into the topic, and we didn't even get into saying, Miss Nexie, what are you sipping on over
Oh
there?
my God. Yes. Well, you're going to be disappointed. And at the same time, you're going to be like, I knew it. She's just having coffee. So I'm sipping on a very, very large cup of very warm and delicious coffee.
Okay.
How about you, Miss Marlene?
Oh, Miss Nexie, I got a little, what do they call that? Long Island iced tea.
Oh, ooh la la.
Nothing, nothing too fancy. Just a little something, something.
Well, well, well. I can say that is a little something, something of everything.
Yeah, it is. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, we have to ask the sippers, all my loved ones, what are you guys sipping on? Let us know in the comment section, or after this is over and you're in the replay. Let me know what you're sipping on. So, Miss Nexie, let's talk about this right here. Taking breaks from family, kids, relatives, spouse, and significant other. I will say for me, I used to have so much guilt behind feeling that I wanted to have my own time and that it was just for me without your family, quote unquote, without your relatives, like your siblings, cousins, grandparents, aunts, this person, that person. That it's okay, loved ones, to have your own time, and it doesn't mean you're abandoning them. It doesn't mean you're a bad person, because sometimes that's the narrative that is fed to us, that you're a bad mom, you're a bad sister, you're a bad brother, you're bad because you don't choose them before yourself. And that's not true. It means that you love yourself and you know about boundaries and you know your limits.
And again, Miss Marlene, we go back to the same, thing. You and I go back to the same thing as it's been embedded in us since we were young. We've been listening to families first, families, everything. You do everything for family. You take no breaks, whatever they need, right? So for us, for you and me, and I'm including myself in it because we pretty much have the same upbringing. It's very hard to do it without guilt, and it's very hard to break that cycle. So if, like, for me, I took a break from holiday celebrations. I did. I took a break from that, and I said, you know what, I'm not gonna do it anymore. It's not gonna be in my house. You guys do it whatever, whenever, and whoever wants to celebrate it, but I'm not doing it. So I can come to whoever's celebrating it. And if nobody is, then I'll just stay home with my family, right? Or whatever. And it was very hard to get to that point. It took me years, but I did it. And the guilt that I felt the first few years of not celebrating Christmas in my house for the entire family, which it was like probably like 50 of us all together, the guilt that I felt, the anxiety and all of that, I had to work it, with my therapist. I had to learn to understand that it was my right to say no if I didn't want a celebration in my house. It was my house to begin with, right? My time, my food, my everything. So I had that right, but I had to work on it. It wasn't natural. It wasn't something that I would say, you know what, this is it. I don't want it. I'm done. I feel so happy. I was so scared of taking that step because I thought I was gonna offend, the elders, and my nieces and nephews were gonna be so sad and not gonna have a great time on holiday. And it's not even true. It was even better probably because they got to celebrate at their own home. But I
Yeah.
always felt this guilt and this shame. And of course, people tell you, right, Miss Marlene, your extended family and sometimes your immediate family, I can't believe you're not celebrating. I can't believe you're taking this attitude. I can't believe you're doing this. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, and Miss Nexie, all it wraps up to be is I can't believe that you're setting boundaries and now we can't control you and now we can't use you.
Yeah, and I was told by someone in my family when I said, that I was going through therapy, and I said, I have to learn to establish some boundaries around certain things. And this person told me that word doesn't exist in our language. So why are you?
Mhm.
And I said, I don't care if it doesn't exist. You got what I said, right?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. I agree, Miss Nexie, because it's like when you grow up in toxicity for many, many generations, like your parents, 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 and you may be the first generation, like myself and Miss Nexie, to say no more. You can't
Hmm.
just stop by here unannounced. No, I'm not going to give you money. No, I'm not going to bail you out for every problem that you have, and because you can't spend your money the right way, or you always are either you're wasting it on things that you need to, but whatever, you don't have good financial money management. But that's not our problem to always be bailing out our family because of their issues, whether you have it or not. That's not our problem.
And taking a break from doing that puts a lot of money in your bank account, puts a lot of money in your pocket. You know what I mean? Like, those are things that we don't, it's very hard. And I'm not saying that I only got the idea from going to therapy that I wanted to, to get to set up boundaries and stuff like that. No, I've always wanted. to have that, that time out. I always wanted it to, okay, I just want to celebrate a Christmas just with me and my family, right? My kids, my husband, just us. I don't want everybody here because they take away from us opening the gifts with our children and enjoying their faces, their reactions. But I always wanted to, I just didn't know how to put it into practice. I didn't even know what it was that I wanted it, right? So I have to thank therapy in a way for that because it allowed me to work, on my anxiety, on my problem, and then, implement it in real life and work on the feel guilty about doing this to my family type of thing.
Right.
And that allowed me to take a lot of breaks in, again, holidays. I will wake up on the 26th and hardly anything to clean because it was just us. We woke up late in the morning and we'll have breakfast like mid morning. And, the kids will be playing, enjoying their gifts. And then we will have sometimes family drop by towards the end of the day just to bring the gifts for the kids. Or we will drop on family towards the end of the day. You know what I mean? If we had not given them their gifts. But it was fun because I got to enjoy the holiday because I wasn't able to because I was cooking, I was cleaning, I was, what I mean, setting everything up, serving people. I will eat last. And so, yeah, sometimes it's good to take those breaks, Miss Marlene, to
It's so
reconnect.
it's so good to take a break. And I will say from toxic family, because or I should say relatives, toxic relatives, because it's a difference when you have family knows how to respect boundaries. They will even
Yeah.
tell you when's the last time you took a vacation, or you need to do whatever it is that fills up your cup. Like for me it's going to the spa, or going for a walk, going to the beach, things like that, because they can tell that I'm really stressed out. But when you have toxic relatives, quote unquote, that claim to be your family, and no matter how much you keep doing for them, you keep
Mhm.
doing this, if you do the five things for them, they want 500 more things they don't know anything about. Like that's enough. They must be tired, or maybe they don't have the money, or they don't want to be bothered. Sometimes our relatives don't know when to say when. They don't know, like, when, like, just stop. And you're
Mhm.
the one that has to speak up and say, I have to save myself first. And Miss Nexty, that was a new concept for me, to be able to
Yeah.
and to say to myself, like, I deserve to have my own time. And if I have $100, everybody in my family doesn't have to know I have $100, you know. And if it's
How did you get to that point? Like, how did you get to where you said, you know what, this is my money, nobody else has to know? Like, when did you get to that time that you were able to establish that boundary?
well, for me, Miss Nexie, I had to hit a rock bottom, because I remember
Mm.
that I was giving so much that I remember one time, like, all my bills were late, like,
Oh my
because I
God.
had given, how, like, you give them money. Oh, I promise I'm going to give it to you Friday, or I promise I'm going to get run into some money, or this person is going to give me back, and then you never
Mm.
get it back on time, on that day. Of course, it's an excuse, or I don't have it, or whatever, or the famous, oh, I thought that was a gift, and
But
I
they
didn't.
didn't tell you which Friday they were gonna give it back.
Yeah. So that's what it took for me, Miss Nexie. I had to hit a wall. And I'm like, wait a minute, like, what is going on? Like, my bills are late. I'm getting a cut off notice because I don't have the money. I had it, but if I had kept it, I could have paid my bills. So that's what it took for me, where I said, what am I doing? Why am I allowing my relatives to control me? And it's not easy at all to tell people that you care about no. I cannot help you anymore. I'm not going to enable you. I'm not going to always bail you out. I cannot always be there for you because I have to be there for me first.
Mm. And for me, it took that I think my breaking point, as you said it, for me, it was when I started um, therapy, and I started seeing that I was the yes, of course, no problem. And then every time I needed help, or I needed something, it was always, oh my God, I wish I could, but I can't. I am so busy today, or I am so how can I put it? I'm sorry, I don't have any gas money. I'm sorry, I don't have any babysitting time for you. I wish I could. I mean, I know you're always helping with my kids, but I can't. It took me therapy and seeing and writing it, because I had a journal. You know how we have to journal? I
Yeah.
had my little journal of how many times I said yes to what they wanted. And this is what my therapist said. Write down how many times you do them, something for them. And write on the next to it, write down a column of how many times you ask for the help and they provide you with that help. And I ended up filling up in a course of a week. I think I ended up filling up like 2 pages of me saying yes to everything, and probably a half a page, probably a little bit more, of who actually helped me, and how many said no was the rest of the pages.
Yeah.
So it was seeing that, because I'm a visual person, right? I have to see it, like, even to understand, like, on text. But you know how a lot of people, from reading, they can get it. I have to see the thing, and I have to get it in my hands. I have to look at it. I have to, from different angles. So I had to see in front of me what's going on, and that's when I started saying, wait a minute. So, he's right. And then I had to say something that it really hurt me, which was, oh my God, my husband is right too.
Yeah.
That really hurt me.
And one of the things that hurt the most, Miss Nexie, is when you realize that your relatives, notice I didn't say family, when you realize that your relatives don't love you back. That
Yes.
was for me like a knife in my heart when you're so giving and so supportive and so kind, empathetic, compassionate for them, worrying about them, and you have those days, and they're very few and far in between, where you're calling and like you're desperate for support. It's not even involving money most of the time. It's just someone
Hmm.
to listen to you, and you'll call, oh, why are you calling right now? I'm busy, or I just got in the bed. Like, what do you want? And when they need you, you're on the phone with them for hours,
Yes.
going places with them for hours, taking care of their kids for hours.
Hours.
But when you need 5 minutes, it's like this big major problem. And
Or there
that
you
was
go
an
again,
eye opener. That was an
Miss
eye.
Marlene. Or, oh my God, you again with the same thing? Oh my God, you went through this last time. You were all worked out of shape, and you're gonna go through this again? And you're like, wait a minute. I've heard you repeat the same problem 1,000 times, and I'm there listening to you. So, again, sometimes, Miss Marlene, taking a break, taking a step back to see the big picture helps you a lot. I
Yeah.
had to do that multiple times because I suffer from anxiety since I was very young, which is why I avoid, crowded places and crowded stores and things like that, because I get anxiety attacks, and I will get very sick, like in the beginning of December, getting everything ready, and or by the Thanksgiving, I will get and I will get a lot of anxiety attacks before the celebrations. And my husband will say, you're working yourself out of shape because of these people. We don't have to do it. I know they're our family, but we don't have to. They're our relatives, not our family, our relatives. We don't have to. But I was so caught up on the, if I don't do it, they're probably not gonna love me, right? If I
Yes.
don't do it, they're probably not gonna, talk to me again. And what if so and so gets mad? And what if my mom? And what if my mother-in-law? So mm, I will always have those things in my head, and I will always um, go above and beyond for these people. And I started realizing as I went on with therapy, that the only person that it has to be okay, has to be healthy, mind and body, before everybody else is me.
Mhm.
And that's what I was missing. So taking a step back allow me to see that what was causing this anxiety, what was causing me all this, and why was I putting myself through that process without having a need to do so, because nobody else was doing it for me. I was doing it for everybody else. So again, taking a break, in that time, believe it or not, Miss Marlene, I went away for 3 days all alone, just by
Wow.
myself. I took off.
Congratulations.
The first time in 20 plus years of marriage, I took off and I said, I need me time. I have to do this. And I really need a break. And because I had forgotten about me, while my kids were growing up, I didn't have time for me. Yeah, I will go from time to time to the salon, get my hair done, get my nails done from time to time with my girls. And I will go, get something to eat with my girls, right? So I was never like completely alone. And this time I said, you know what, I'm about to explode. I need some time for me. And so doing that allowed me to realize that no matter what I did for others, if I wasn't healthy, if I wasn't happy, it didn't matter what I did, because it had to be about me first.
And it does, Miss Nexie. It has to be about you. And this is not just for the women. This is for men too, because over here we talk about how important mental health is, and everybody's mental health matters, from a grown woman to a grown man, even a child. You have
Mm-hmm.
Everybody needs their space. Every single person needs
Yes.
the space, but the thing about it is that that's something that a lot of people don't understand, because in a family it's like we're always in each other's face, always, you feel like you're pushed into doing things, like things aren't balanced sometimes. And that was one of the reasons, Miss Nexie, why I know for me, I needed to get therapy, because I didn't know how to navigate, informing people how to cut them off when I was the enabler. Therapy taught me
Mm,
that it was okay, not that it was okay, but I learned that I was the problem in the equation, and I
mm-hmm.
needed to find my way to the solution.
Yep, that's exactly what happened to me as well. But this is the thing, Miss Marlene. When my kids were growing up, I always, because in my home is three boys and three girls, right? With my when I was growing up, and we had the girls' room and the boys' room. Because our houses back home are not huge, right? They're small. So there was the boys' rooms, and there was like three beds in there, a bunk bed and a single bed, and for the girls the same thing. The bunk beds and a single bed, but we had our own rooms. Now, the one thing that I never understood about my dad, and I actually, until now that I'm older, I thank him for it, is that whenever he will see one of us upset or struggling or stressed out, my dad and he would see us go to our room or whatever, my dad will grab the other two or three, whoever was there, and say, hey, let's go for a walk. Give her some space, give her some time, let her be there. Come on, let's go. And he will take them, or he will take them to the backyard, and they will talk and leave that person to have their moment, right? I didn't get it when I was growing up because, I was like, okay, whatever, I will take it for granted, I guess. But now that I'm older and I started having my kids, I was able to do that for my kids. Just let him go to his room. Just go to your room, do whatever you have to do. Don't come out until you feel better. I started recognizing when they needed that moment, when they needed to be without their siblings, right? When they needed to be without the entire family there. And then I started listening to them saying, Mom, we don't even get to be with you on these holidays because you're so busy cooking. And they will go to sleep, and I will still be cleaning. So I started listening, and I started realizing that, hey, you know what? Maybe, again, as you said, I am the problem. Maybe I'm the one that is causing all of this stress on me because nobody's putting a knife to my head, or a gun to my head, or whatever, right? It's me. I'm volunteering for all of this.
Yes. And
So
for
yes, like you, Miss Marlene, I was the enabler. I'm sorry. Go on, Miss Marlene.
Yeah, and I wanted to say that too, Miss Nexie, that it's okay. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to have this conversation, because it's like you feel like you're too far, you're too deep into it. I felt like I was in the deep end. I was drowning literally, because I was so used to doing so much, like all the cleaning, all the cooking, all this, all that. But we make our own problems, but it's never too late. And I had to come to the conclusion of getting over myself.
Mm-hmm.
Getting over, oh, I don't want to disappoint them. I don't want to hurt them. But that's the things that we've been telling ourselves for many years. It's the things that we feed ourselves. Our ego is involved. Also, the way we were raised is so many things that are involved in learning to speak up for yourself. And I didn't even realize that that's what it was, speaking up
Mm-hmm.
for yourself. But I wanted to say that, because Miss Nexie, I believe over here on this channel that we are the voice of the voiceless. That
Mm-hmm.
I want to say to ladies, gentlemen, little boys, little girls, everybody, all human beings, that you have to show people how to treat you. And if you do
Yes.
not speak up and advocate for yourself, people will keep running over you like a doormat.
Well said, Miss Marlene. Clap, clap, clap. Well said. I'm gonna tell you something. I hope you don't call child services or the popo on me.
I'm not calling the popo, Miss Nexie.
Don't call child services or the popo on me. But you know who I started using as an excuse for certain things? My little guy.
Miss
And the
Nexie,
only reason,
I have one of those too.
but you know what? My son taught me, Miss Marlene, that it was okay to say no. It was okay not to be okay with certain things. When he didn't want to go somewhere, like if he didn't want to go into, let's say we had a party, and we'll get invited to this Sweet 16 one time. We got invited. I didn't want to go to begin with, but everybody was like, "Oh, we want to go. It's our cousin, blah blah." Okay, let's go. We all go. We get there, and he says, "I'm not going."
Oh
I'm
no.
like, okay, just for a little bit. We're gonna go inside. Nope, I'm not go. I stay in the car. I'll stay in the car. I'm not going. So because we knew that if we got him out, it was gonna be screaming and tantrum time. I said, okay, you know what? You guys go. go say, give the gift, say hi, eat, whatever. And then, once you have a chance, come back and relieve me. And then I'll go in and have a little bit to eat or whatever. And if not, just bring me something. If not, just wait. So he taught me that it was okay to say, no, I don't want to go listen to that music, with those drums going boom, 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 boom. My ears hurting. I'm getting all like stressed out. I don't want to be there. So he allowed me to take a good look at him and say how brave he is. Because he said, I'm not going. And he meant, I'm not going. I don't care how you coax me. I don't care what you do. I'm not going in there. So by using him in a way, he gave me a voice and a courage and excuse to start changing without them noticing the big change in me.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly, Miss Nexie.
Uh-oh.
Exactly.
Am
I'm
I going to have to call the popo on you and child services too?
Miss Nexie. This, you know, and me and Miss Nexie, we're talking about having a special needs,
Yes.
child, because there is nothing like it. No, it's. I'm not saying that there's not difficulties for those who have a child, and I don't even want to say a regular child, because but
Yeah.
though, when they have special needs, that's a whole completely different animal.
Yes, they are.
I like, literally, like, sometimes, we've joked and talked about it, when there's special needs, like, you have to like, really walk on eggshells, like it's not a good moment. And will say, like, how are you doing? And I'll say things like, oh, I'm feeling like to gauge like her attitude, like, oh, okay, I'm a fish today, so playful and stuff. But when we get to, like, I'm a lion, okay, back, okay, I'm back. Okay, we don't want to, let's not poke the lion. So
Yes.
that's one of the things that I do agree with you on, that Miss Nexie, is when you have somebody who is special needs, we think sometimes that they have to adapt to us.
Yes.
Learn from that. No, no, no. You're in
Miss
their
Marlene,
world.
so we have, now that you're talking about we have to learn from them. So there was one time I was so afraid that our sip and chatters heard. I was like, I have forgotten to ask you, but there was one day that he was going through, like, I'm a seal type of face, right?
Hmm.
And I said to you, he's acting like a seal today. He's a seal. And then I went to him. I said, "Oh, you're a seal." And I closed the door, but I had my mic on mute. And I closed his door because he was making a lot of noise. And I forgot to lock my door. So all of the sudden, Miss Marlene, my door opened and he says, "I'm a walrus." I was like, "Oh my God." And I was like, "Did they hear?" Because my mic was. So with these little people, we learned that there is no such a thing as your it, your time. It's no such a thing as you gonna do this. Is their time, and when they are ready to do, when they ready, when they want to, it's not your time anymore. But at the same time, it allows you to understand that it's okay to say no. I don't like that. No, I'm not going because it bothers me. No, I'm not going because I don't want to go or because I don't like you, right? You may not say it in those words. They will. I don't like you, so I'm not going. But they give us the courage to go out of our little shell and say, you know what? It is okay to say that. I was using him as an excuse, and eventually I did tell people, I was using him, but now I can tell you myself, I don't like going there. I don't like that food, or I don't like those parties, and I don't like staying out late. I like my house. I like my solitude, my quiet time, right? And so, but in the beginning for me, it was very hard to say, my house again. And Miss Marlene, we're talking about, how how I don't know. Well, Jamaicans and Hispanics are pretty much the same. You know, they like to drink, they like to party till the wee hours of the night, and you know, it's like 1 in the morning, and you're like, you're still here,
Yeah, and
and
it's
your
like you're
bathroom,
not gonna leave.
yeah, and your bathroom is dirty, and your kitchen, they're going in there getting, you know, little hors d'oeuvres to eat, and they're making a mess, or they have the, you know, the all of the sudden they want like to heat up something too because they got hungry. And so my family is like that. Like my in-laws will come in, and again, my husband comes from a big family too. So everybody will show up with the kids, and the kids will be like running around the house. It will be late at night. I just wanted to go to bed because I had worked all day cooking and cleaning, and they were still here until 2, 3 in the morning. It
Oh,
was like, oh
Miss
my God.
Miss Nexie, I'm sorry to tell you, but I think Jamaicans are worse because they don't even go home. They say, go get me a blanket," and it's like I was like, "No, go home, go to your house."
I don't have blankets anymore. I threw them all away. No, it will be like that when they will come from far away, right? We knew that they were going to spend the night, so you know we'll give them a room, and that was it. But the thing here is, let's say I will go. At one point, I said, you know what, my kids are tired. I don't like to leave them alone in their room, right? Because you never know, Miss Marlene, people are going in and out of rooms. So I will always sleep in my I will put all of my kids in one room, and I will put like a little mat on the floor, and I will sleep right by the door. Just in case somebody came in and tried to open, I'll be like, what's going on?
Exactly.
So, but the thing with that is like, oh, you're going to bed? Okay, take mine. Okay. The baby fell asleep. Oh, you're already in bed, but here's my baby. If he wakes up, just give him the bottle. I thought I was gonna go to bed. Oh yeah, I changed his diaper like in about a couple of hours. Otherwise, he'll wake up. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't know I was your nanny. So all of that from a whole day, probably 2 days of pre-cooking, you know, and everything, and then a whole day of cooking, dinner and everything, doing dishes and getting help here and there from some people. Mostly, sometimes will be my husband helping me, my mother-in-law. So from all of that, they would just come, sit down, and enjoy the food, drinks, and go out and play that music and talk.
Yeah, yeah, but Miss Nexie, here's what I have to say. I hate to interrupt you and cut you off,
Go
but
for it.
the thing about it is we complain about things like, oh, it's all these people in my house and they don't leave and they're messy and they do this. But honestly, if you really make a self evaluation, you're the one that lets them come in the house. You're the one that does not say you need to bring food, you need to do this, you need to do that, and nobody is leaving because everybody's going to help me clean. Those are the things that I had to learn when I went to therapy, is not waiting for people to do the right thing. You saying beforehand, I am not cleaning up after everybody. And because of that, I will not be using regular dishes. If you want to eat out of a dish, you need to wash your dish. It's going to be paper plates. And then there's
Oh,
complaining and, oh, but I want a regular. Good, then watch it. Good, then watch it.
no, you know what I ended up doing? Like, because I will tell, okay, you bring the desserts, and then you bring the salad, and you bring this, and I'll cook the main dish, right? Well, I ended up making the dish, a few side dishes, and then, oh my God, I forgot I was supposed to bring the salad, huh? Ah, I forgot about the dessert. I knew there was something, so they will show up with nothing. And then
Hmm.
I will have to go to the store and try to get something because I didn't have the time to make them. Sometimes I would just make chocolate chip cookies for the kids here at home, but I was like, I wanted it something big, whatever. So what I ended up, once I got, my therapy, and my little guy, was diagnosed, and I could use him, I will say, you know what? If you want, you guys can stay at home, celebrate your holiday there, and then, we can come day after the holiday and just have a little get together here at my house. but the main event is not going to be in my house, not anymore.
Good.
And I said, oh, another thing, Miss Marlene. So I'm talking about a huge family. So it's the mom, dad, and 3, 4 kids per family. And it's 7 kids in my husband's family, right? So you
Mm.
can imagine how many kids they have. 7 siblings, so they each have like 3 or 4. So it will be like a whole bunch of gifts for mom, dad, and the 4 kids. Mom, dad, and the 3 kids. Mom, dad, and blah blah blah. So I was like always giving them so many, and they will come to me with one gift per kid, and sometimes, oh, I brought a gift for all of them, and
Oh, 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 and Miss Nexie, and there's this too. They don't want a small gift either.
but they bring you a small one, and that, you know what I mean, like.
Yeah.
So what I did again, because you have to take that time, when I took that time away and I started thinking, when it came closer to the holidays, I'm thinking, why am I doing all this? I'm never going to be able to please these people. I'm never going to be able to save anything because everything goes here. So I said, this time I'm only going to gift the little ones, 10 and under. That's it. Nobody else. And that's exactly what I did. I only gifted the little ones. Everybody got upset, but I didn't care because I will see that every year was, oh, one for all the kids. Oh, I just got them these candies. They didn't even think about what to give my children. And I was always thoughtful of theirs. So again, when we immerse ourselves in traditions and we don't take breaks, we get wrapped up, Miss Marlene. We do.
Yeah. Okay,
We get all wrapped up.
Miss Nexie, and I have to say, like we've said it before, but because I don't know who came in where, because a lot of people have come into the chat. Welcome everybody. I hope everybody's doing amazing.
Welcome, everyone.
Yeah, welcome everybody. I wasn't trying to skip over, but we're really enjoying this conversation. But uh, and also you have to take breaks from a person you're in a romantic with, you're in a relationship with romantically. It's so important to do that. And a lot of times people will be like joined at the hip. Oh, I can't go anywhere without my husband. I can't go anywhere without my wife,
Mhm.
my boyfriend, my girlfriend, my partner, whatever it is that you want to call them. So that's very unhealthy because you need to have time separate. you know I believe the absence makes the heart grow fonder. I know you be alone in that, but I think it's important for you to miss each other sometimes. And also when you're away and you go away for a few days, you get them to realize how much you do. And it's like, oh yeah, the laundry didn't just wash itself, and the clothes didn't hang up and iron, and the dishes didn't just get washed, and the meals and the food coming into the home. And there's so many things that we do that it gets taken for granted because people just get so used to us doing those things that it's not until you walk away before they can come to the surprise, like, oh, she washes dishes, or he washes dishes, or he does this. Because I never want to forget about my male loved ones that do so much of the heavy lifting in the home. And sometimes it's always focused on what the women do, but I cannot discount what the men do. They work very hard outside of the home, trying to, doing things that, if you have a really great relationship, you don't even have to think about it. Things like putting gas in your car, or making sure the lawn is done, and, repairs in the home, and etc., that you forget about things until they go away, and you're like, well, who's going to fix that, or who's going to do that? You haven't done that in many, many years.
But you know what, Miss Marlene? It is true, though. I'm sorry to butt in like this, but it is true that you do grow fonder when you actually go away. And like my husband used to take fishing trips, once or twice a year with his friends, and it will be like a weekend, right? Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And it was nice because I, of course, I stay with the kids, but he was gone, and it was just me and the kids bonding time. We'll watch movies, eat pizza, stay up a little bit later than usual, and have fun on the weekend. We'll go to the park the next day. But when he came back, it was so much more fun, and so much nicer to see him than it was an everyday, right? And he was like, oh my God, I actually missed you. Like, I really missed you. And those feelings that sometimes is so, you're so used to the routine, you don't get to feel that, the appreciation of that person. Like, I missed my cup of coffee this morning because you didn't make it for me, so thank you for that. And or you know what, we had breakfast and it was weird because I forgot to get this and that item that you always get put on the table for us. And so it is nice to do that from time to time. It's not, I cannot be with someone 24/7. Someone that I live with, someone that I'm in a relationship with. I don't think I would be able to be. I work with them 24, work with them and then come home with them. I don't think I would be able to do that.
Yeah, well, and that's why we say to each his or her own. I think Miss Nexty, because we're Caribbean women, I think we're a little different. Like, I'm definitely not the woman who's going to be like, oh, like, want somebody to be like right under me. I'm like, can you give me some space over here? Like, you need to be arm's length away from me at all times.
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be break time, but you don't know what's gonna break.
Yes, exactly. Okay, Miss Nexie, let's head on to the next one. So we talked about taking breaks from our relatives, kids, spouse, significant other. Now let's talk about this one, which is a very heavy one. And most of us do not do this, but we need to think about it, and that's take breaks from work. Mhm. We need
Ooh,
to we need to need
yes.
to need to because I know not just you, Miss Nexie, but so many of my loved ones that we work so hard. You put in a lot of hours, you deal with a lot of stress, and we all need to take breaks from work.
Yes, we do. And that is something that it was very difficult for me. You know how you have that 1 week vacation and you have to take it, or you lose your vacation time or whatever. It was very hard for me to take that week off. Like, I would always think like, oh my God, by the time I come back, I'm gonna be so behind on work, and there's gonna be all these other things, and how can I leave, in the patients, and they're not gonna be able to, be taken care of properly, or whatever it was. It was very hard for me, and but I had to make myself, I went into, oh my God, I'm gonna reveal too much, but when I started allowing myself to take those breaks, to recharge, I will sometimes call in sick even though I wasn't. It was a very, very nerve wracking. It was a lot of anxiety for me to call in sick when I wasn't, because I was like, I'm lying. I'm not even sick. I can go. I should go in. But I did it a few times to see that, to let myself know that, hey, it's okay if you're not up to the challenge today, to stay home and relax. Everybody at work is going to be there tomorrow. The patients are going to be there too, right? The world is not going to end because you take a day off for
Oh, Miss
whatever it
Maxie,
is.
the sky is not gonna fall like Chicken Little. The sky won't fall if you're not at work.
Yeah, and I had to, but the anxiety and the guilt of lying that I was sick when I wasn't, I always thought, why can I just say I don't want to go in today because I don't feel like tell them the truth.
Yes.
But I started realizing that that wasn't appropriate either
Yeah.
because
You
they
know,
were gonna say, "Oh, so you don't feel like it? Okay, we're gonna have to find somebody else that actually feels like it."
yeah, one thing that I had to learn, Miss Maxie, was that I had to learn a balance between being, just cutthroat and just say exactly, I'm not coming in because this job gets on my nerves and I'm so stressed. That's what I really want to say. But I had to learn to say that I am taking a mental health day.
And I think, Miss Marlene, that that's the well, now it's okay. I can do that, right? No big deal. I'm not, you know, my schedule. You can say, clear up or reschedule. I'm not going in today, and you don't have to explain, right? But when you're younger and you don't really understand your mental health, or you don't really allow your, you don't read the signs of your mind and your body when they're saying, I'm tired, I need, I need a break from home, and I need a break from work, and I need, when you don't understand that, you're in overdrive, right? And you always feel guilty not earning that day worth of money, or because you're like me, I will think like, oh my god, I'm gonna miss out on that, that day, and it's like this much money. Gee, I could use that money. But then I started thinking, okay, but my mental health, there's no price to it, right? I have to take care of me. Today is not going to be a good day for me if I go into the office. So, and it's not going to be good for everybody else around me because they're probably going to feel the fact that I'm not 100% okay. And I'm going to probably disrupt the flow. So I started saying, you know what? I'm not going in today because I don't feel good. I woke up really, really sick. And that was it. Now, when I don't want to and I don't feel up to, I will say, you know what, I'm not coming in, just, reschedule. No big deal.
Hmm.
But I know when to take those breaks now. Before I didn't know.
Yay. Yay, I love that.
I'm listening to my mind, to my body, and I'm listening to, yeah, again, it took me a while to get my anxiety under control. I didn't know why it was occurring so often, Miss Marlene. I was getting anxiety attacks throughout the day, and sometimes it will be 3, 4 days straight that I will get that anxiety, and I didn't know why. Once I started going through therapy and I started listening to my body, and I started listening to my mind and saying, hey, you need to relax, you need to take a break, you need to take a few steps back so that you can see the big picture, which is you need a freaking break. You need a vacation by yourself. And now I can do those, Miss Marlene. I've taken vacations by myself.
Yes, yes. I wanted to highlight a comment here. Joker says in the UK, we get 25 days minimum a year paid leave from work for this specific reason. I 100% agree. When you're mentally exhausted, you begin to be less efficient, affecting your moods, and you hate going. And also, when you're not in a good mind space, you're not going to be able to focus. You're probably going to snap at people, be cranky. You're just not going to be efficient. It's always better to take that mental health day. And my personal view in business is every pay period, every 2 weeks, you should get 1 day to be off every 2 weeks.
You know, for me, um, I think that every 2 months I will take a couple of days off. That I say, you know what, today is, even if I'm okay, Miss Marlene, even if I'm not anxious, even if I'm not, stressed out, I just take those 2 days off for me. And I
Mm,
go out and get a nice cup of coffee, a good breakfast on my own, and then I visit a few places that I want to visit, and then I come home and sit down, read a good book or watch something on TV, and that's it. Then the next day I do whatever I have to do here at home, and the third day I go back to work. But I do it because I can and because I want to, right? To keep my mind and my body healthy. And it helps me
exactly.
to go on for the next 2 months or so. And I do it all over again. And again, even if I don't need it, I just do it because it just it reminds me, it brings to mind everything that we've been talking about. You need a break. You need to relax. You need to think things through. You need to see, what else is missing on you or for you. And the only way you can do that is by taking those breaks, not waiting until you're completely stressed out and out of your mind, with stress, and that you're not going to be able to get the most out of it. So I do it before I get to that point. Now,
Exactly. Exactly, Miss Nexie. You have to know when you get to that breaking point, and that is one of the reasons why I wanted to, talk about this, is because most of the time I see, and I don't mind sharing. I work in healthcare, and most of the time when you work in healthcare, it's the people who work in healthcare do not take care of their health.
whew, yes.
I feel like that's a message. I feel like I just testified.
What is that? The saying, "Doctor, heal thyself."
Yeah. It's one of those things, Miss Nexie, that when you are always taking care of others, regardless of what you do for work or whatever, you also have to think about yourself, because nobody's going to say, "Hey, oh, are you falling apart? Are you an emotional wreck? Are you going through?" You're the one that has to be like, "Yeah, today I'm an emotional wreck," because I do have those days, and I don't mind sharing it because I'm a transparent person. But sometimes it's very few and far between. But sometimes I have those weepy days where I know that I'm going to be crying the whole day, and I'm
Mhm.
like, yeah, so
I
it's a mental health day today. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and yeah, and again, sometimes you have patients too, Miss Marlene. Again, because we both work, in the healthcare industry, is that we have patients that come in, with health problems or strokes and stuff like that, because they are so busy in life that they don't take the time, right, to look at themselves, to make sure that they are okay, to take the time to to breathe, take the time to say, hey, you know what, I'm gonna go and get me a me day today. And they're so overworked sometimes that they come to us, and by that time sometimes it's a little too late. And you have those cases, Miss Marlene, when you look back, because I had them. I look back and I'm like, oh my god, that could be me. I haven't slept in 30 hours. So maybe I should start listening to my body and go to bed. You know
yep,
what I mean? Like, you have those moments when you have to see yourself in others and learn from that. And so that you don't end up in that same position. And that's the one thing, that when we're in healthcare, you want to help everybody. You
Yes.
sometimes don't even want to go home because you want to be there for them. You want to make sure that they are okay. And most of the time, and I'm guilty of this, we forget that we are also people, that we are also human. We're not superhumans. We are humans, and we forget that we have to be okay as well. That, going on 2 days and a half without any sleep is not doing you any good. You're very, very close to ending up in where this person came into you this morning or this evening, right? So I had to sometimes take the time to look at that and say, hey, you know what? I need to rest. Even if I'm not sleepy because the adrenaline is so high, even if I'm not tired, I'm going to go lay down. Hopefully, by relaxing, I can get a little bit of shut eye. And so, because I suffer from that a lot, I'm sometimes is I'm at home, I don't work, and it's 3, 4 in the morning, I can't sleep, and so I have to give myself the time to relax and take sleep when I can. That's another thing I had to learn, that it doesn't have to be at a certain time. It has to be when I'm ready, but I need to rest. And
Yes.
we forget those things when sometimes when we're doing something we love.
Yeah, when you love what you do, and it's like it's so fulfilling and satisfying, but also you can't be at your best optimum job performance if you are not good. And I know that was very guilty of this, and I had to learn at work. Like Miss Nexie, literally, I have to put it in my phone, time to eat, and the alarm goes off. And I have to put
Yep.
in my phone, time to drink water, time to get up and walk. Like I have to put those alarms
Guilty.
throughout the day, because when you get busy, you're in the zone, you're working, you're doing things, multitasking, that you'll look up and the whole shift is almost over, and you're like, I didn't even have a sip of water. I didn't even eat anything. I didn't do anything for me. So, that's something that, we have to practice. And I have to remind myself that while, yes, I am at work and I know that there is so much work to do, but I am not going to compromise my health for work.
And that is so true, Miss Marlene, because we forget. I have gone on for when the pandemic was first, when it first started, when it was going like full blown. I will go on for 24 hours, um 27, 28 hours without food. I will sometimes have a sip of water, but it wasn't like I'm gonna have my 8 ounces, right? And I enjoy my glass. No, it was just a few sips and then back to work. And my stomach will I will have that burning sensation, that feeling, and then I will think, oh my God, I didn't eat all day. Like I haven't eaten in like a day and a half. But you're so
Mm.
busy and so caught up in what's going on that you forget. And that's another thing, I had to put down how much water I'm drinking. I found this app, okay, because I wasn't drinking that much water and I was getting a lot of UTIs, right? And
Mm.
I was like, why am I getting them? I'm like, I'm always like active. I'm not, I shower. I'm not someone that doesn't do any of this. So why am I getting so much of that? I was drinking coffee and sometimes, more than one cup, whatever, but I wasn't drinking just pure, natural water. And so I found this app that my friend actually sent me, and she's like, log in your water intake and for 1 day or 2 days, and you will be surprised of how little you drink. I was like, no, I'm sure I drink a lot of water. And Miss Marlene, in 2 days, I probably had one 16-ounce bottle of water in the two
Oh
days.
no.
And I didn't realize that. So sometimes, these apps are so good, and having alarms, like you said, having those alarms on helps you to remind yourself because you're so busy. Hey, again, take care of you before everybody else, and take care of your mental health before you can take care of everybody else's. And if that means you have to take time, 3 days, 2 days, a week or two, or whatever it is that you need to, rejuvenate, repair, refresh, re-energize, whatever it is that you need to do, you have to do it for you. You have to do it for you. Don't do it for anybody else. Do it for you. It's the only way you're gonna be able to get that satisfaction and that relaxation mode if you do it for you. Because if you're doing it because somebody else tells you to, it's not gonna be the same thing.
It won't, Miss Nexie. So, Miss Nexie, here is the one that ah, take breaks from friends. And like you guys can see me, I'm doing the quotes behind
Hmm.
my avatar. I'm doing the
I
bunny
saw that.
ears. You
I
saw
saw it.
it?
And I saw the eye roll too on the avatar. Is that you? I saw the avatar's little eyes roll. So I get
Yeah,
you, Miss Marlene. Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah. Taking breaks from friends, quote unquote, And
Yes.
I'm not talking about fake fake
Mm-mm.
support, fake friends, or people who you are a friend to them. I mean people who are your real, true, ride or dies, there to the end, in good times and bad times, friends.
Mm-hmm.
Even the good people, you need a break from them too, because it gets to be sometimes like when you're friends with people and you hear about their problems, they hear about yours, and you need a break from hearing about other people's problems too. It's like I love y'all, but y'all be doing too much.
Yeah, and I tell my friend, I love you, I really do, but I love me more. So I disconnect too, Miss Marlene. I try to be there, and maybe this is my, you know, I don't know, maybe it's wrong of me, but when I hear your problem and we've discussed a solution, and then I hear the same problem over and over and over, and I have told you the same thing, same solution, do this, do that. If you continuously bring me the same problem, I'm going to get tired of you, and I'm going to disconnect for a couple of weeks so I can teach you a little lesson.
Yeah. Teach me a lesson, Miss Nick.
Yeah, no, and that's what I do sometimes. I have, again, I don't have a lot of friends because I'm not someone that has a whole bunch of friends. I don't need that. But I have, a handful of friends, and I mean it, handful, that I consider my best friends, and do or die, right? Type of friends that
Mhm.
I can be me with them and they won't take it the wrong way, and they can be them with me and I don't take it the wrong way. If I text my friend and she doesn't answer, I know she's going through something, and I let her, deal with it. And then she'll text me and then we'll talk. And
Mm.
same thing, you call me and I don't answer, you know that I'm going through something. And she lets me be, they let me be. And then I call back and then we pick up where we left off.
Right,
But
Miss
those
Nick.
so-called fake friends that if you don't call them, they tell you, you're not my friend. You didn't even call me. You didn't even text me. Blah blah blah. Those people stress me more out than the help their friendship gives me. So I cut them off, which is why I'm telling you, I only have like a handful of friends that understand and respect me, because that's the whole thing that
Mhm.
people don't understand. When people allow you to be you, they respect you. They respect your
Yes.
space. They respect you as a human being, as a friend, as a partner, or whatever. When they allow you to be you,
Yes,
if
Miss
they don't
Nick.
allow that, they don't accept that, then they have no respect for you or the friendship.
Exactly. And that was one of the things that Miss Next, I don't know who I'm talking to, but the me maybe 15 years ago, I was always the person who was always, I felt like I bought friends.
Get
And
it.
I wasn't like trying to, not like, oh, hey, let me buy you this gift, hey, let me buy you that, but I think because that's my love language, I
Mm-hmm.
love to receive gifts, so I love to give gifts. And I got into this routine of always buying gifts until one day I was like, wait a minute, how many years has it been? I was like, they haven't bought me not one gift.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I don't do it for that, and I don't mean like, oh, every time you see me a gift, but you know, periodically, if you go somewhere and you think about somebody, I buy a little trinket or this, or I know what people like their favorite, you know, cookies or body
Yeah,
wash or
a little
t-shirt,
somethings.
you know, little something here and there. But I find that it was not being reciprocated to me, so I just cut it all off. Because, and for me, that was one of the things that I had to do in taking a break from friends, is stop enabling this behavior and then complaining about it, because therapy taught me that other people, nobody can be you. I
Mm-hmm.
was expecting for people to mirror my behavior, because I buy you a gift, you give me a gift. If I call you, you're supposed to call me.
Call me back.
And that's one of the things that I had to learn about communication and friendship. Like, I love you, but hey, you're not giving me this and this, and I don't know if you know, but it makes me feel this way when you do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
That's, you know, that's not saying you're a bad person. It's, you're just stating exactly the way you're not being supported and loved. And then you give the ownership back to them. Now it's on you. What are you going to do now that you have the knowledge that what you are doing is affecting me? And
This.
that was so helpful in me, like finding my way and making me realize, like, is this going to be a permanent break from this person, or is this a person who be like very understanding? Oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Okay, I'm going to do better. So that was one thing. The second thing was, um, if you have really good friends, your good friends are going to force you to take breaks. Like, I have friends that have literally, Miss Nexty kidnapped me, and it's like, I was like, where are we going? No, 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 I can't. I got this. Nope. And there's like, sit down, get in the car. I was like, where are we going? No, I don't have time. I have about seven. Nope.
Not today. You're not.
Not
Yeah, and
today.
it, and
So,
you appreciate those type of friends. Go on, Miss Marlene. Go on.
mhm.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, no, no. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Miss Nexty. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that's why you appreciate those kind of friends.
Mhm. Yes, exactly. That's why you appreciate those type of friends, and that's when you know that you're in the right community. And when you're in the bad community, if you take a break, oh, why didn't you go with me? And didn't you
Mm,
buy me something? And how come you can afford to get that? Like, there's no negativity, there's no drama, there's no anger, there's no jealousy there. A good friend will be happy for you, and say, good for you. I'm glad you took a break.
yeah. I'm gonna tell you something that happened to me recently. I had this. It was it was someone that was very special to me, um, and we have had a friendship through my kids. This person became, like one of my kids, and we've known each other for like 20 years, since the kids were in school and everything, and everybody, they got married and whatever. So I've been going through a lot in the past, 3 4 years, and I know that this person has gone through a lot as well. But what I wanted to tell you is that rec- not too long ago I got a text, because I had texted a couple of times and no replies, right? And I was like, oh, that's weird. So I sent another text, is something wrong? Are you okay? Because I haven't heard from you, blah, blah, blah. And this person said, you know what? We were supposed to get together. I don't know, some time, and I didn't hear from you. So this year, I'm stopping all of those people that don't want to hang out with me or something like that. And I was like, what? So, this will be my last text. And I was like, okay, no problem, right? And so that was it. But it was weird because it's someone that, we didn't have to be in contact with every day or every other month. It was someone that we will see once or twice a year, right? And again, pick up where we left off. But this time, this person said that, and I was like, oh, okay, no problem. If this is the end of the friendship, then this is the end of the friendship. But it was kind of weird for me because I never expected this kid to act like that towards me, especially because I don't know, it was just weird. But at the
Yeah,
same time, who knows what this person is going through, right? And they probably needed me, and I probably didn't, reach out or whatever, so it doesn't matter. But when this person said this, I was a little shocked. I was like, okay, where's that coming from? Like, we've been friends for years and it has never been an issue. We've always had this kind of friendship. So I don't know. It was kind of weird, but it was good because you get to see people in their element.
no, you really get to see who they really
Uh
are.
huh.
Yes,
Exactly. You get to see them in their element, and you know that the friendship wasn't. It was one sided.
exactly, Miss Nexie. And I want to highlight this comment from Joker. He says, being busy in life isn't the same as willfully ignoring someone. And I got to address that because I have been in a space to where I'm going through so many things in my life. Like when back in 2017, when I had like three deaths in a row, like back to back. I had lost my dad, my mom, and I had a death near and dear to me. And it was so overwhelming that I literally shut down and I shut everybody out, but not on purpose, but it's just because I was trying to cope with life. It was just so overwhelming. And I feel like during that time, you really find out who are the people that care about you, because I was not okay. I'm just going to say it like that. I was not okay. I was really messed up. And there's a lot of people who stopped going around me because I just cut everybody off. And for me, if somebody's my friend and I don't hear from them, I'm going to go by. Hey, I
Mm-hmm.
haven't heard from you. I called. I just want to know if you're okay. They were just like, well, you don't have time for me anymore. And it was nothing like that, Miss Nexie. I was just like,
Wow.
I was literally, Miss Nexie, zoned out. You know how like you're going through life, you're doing all of the tasks of the day, but like my mind, like I literally was checked out. And I had one friend that came and was like, I thought we were friends. Like, hello, get out of here. And I needed that because when you're going through things, you need people to be like, I know you're going through stuff, but what about me?
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of times we forget about other people when you're in your own issues. And that really helped me to like wake up and to not be so absorbed in my own problems. I had to think that I do have friends and loved ones and people who really care about me, and it's not just about my personal issues. So I did want to address that comment.
For me, Miss Marlene, this past 2 years, 3 years now, I've lost, dad one and dad two.
Mhm.
My biological dad, who I adored, and my dad number two, which well, here they call him stepdads, right? And I adored him too, and I lost them a week apart from each other. I
Mm.
was fortunate enough to take care of my dad too, but I wasn't able to go visit my dad, one because the pandemic was going on when he was sick,
Wow.
but he had a lot of people around him. But for me, I when I have a loss in the family, I deal with it in solitude. I cannot be surrounded by people. I mourn alone. That's how I do best. Now, I have friends again that are my dearest, dearest of friends that, can count them with one hand, that understood that I needed the time to, to mourn my dad's. And they didn't bother me. They texted me once, sorry about your loss. I didn't reply. And I replied 7 months later, thank you for that. And we picked up where we left off. They didn't confront me. They didn't make me feel like, oh, now you want to be my friend. And those are true friends to me because they understood and they understand that I needed that time for me. Because that's how I deal better with life. I do it alone. I maybe because I got used to it since I was little, I guess, to soothe myself and work my problems alone than in a group. So those people are still my friends, right? I consider them my friends. And I have another friend who also leaves me alone and doesn't hear from me. And then all of a sudden, oh, now you want to be my friend?
Oh,
Now
snap.
you know me?
No,
Now
no,
you
and it's like, oh, who is this?
Yeah. No, oh, now you know me. You know who I'm talking about, Miss Marlene. So, but they don't make you feel bad. They understand you. The love that they have for you, the respect that they have for you allows you that respite, that time to say, I want nothing to do with you guys right now. It has nothing to do with you. It has to do with me,
Mhm.
right? I need this for me. And people that understand you to that level of where non-communication, but they don't throw it in your face and they are still the same people that they were, those are true friends.
Mhm. And just like this comment that Joker made, he said in that instance when people are supposed to come around you, no matter what your mood is, how you respond or what you need to let out, your community shouldn't fail you in these times, in these instances, loss, birth, etc. And
Hmm.
that's so true. And for me, it was like I grieved more because it's like you're dealing with the grief, and then it's another level of pain when you're grieving alone. And not that you're alone, but you know what I mean. Like
Yes.
you don't feel like, even if it's just a daily text. And that is what got me through it, because and they were very sarcastic with it. I know you're not going to respond to this message, but I just want you to know I'm still here. I still love you. And when
Yes.
you're ready,
That
give me a
exactly.
call. Yeah.
Exactly. I'll be here when you're ready. And that's the thing that my friends have, they've known me for so long. We've been best friends for 20 plus years. I think one of my friends, my best friends, we've been friends for like 30
Mhm.
years now. And so they know me, right? They've known me and we're friends because we both respect each other's times, each other's lives. There were times when, we got married and had our families that we weren't really together because we were raising our kids. But, we will always try to reconnect and then reunite whenever we could. But it wasn't a big deal. Like the friendship was not going to end because we weren't seeing each other every day, right? Because
Exactly.
like I don't get that you have to see someone every day. But true friends and actual family, but that you can call family, are those people that no matter what happens, no matter what you do, or how many times you probably mess up, they don't hold it against you because they know you.
Yes. Yep, because they know who you are, and they
Hmm.
know like you usually are one that was talk to them and support them. So they know that you're really going through something, but you do need to take a break from even those individuals. And I always say that I need to step away from them to evaluate sometimes, like, is this really a friend? Are they really my friends? Or am I like, is this like some mirage or something? Like, because I'm definitely an evaluating person. like I do a lot of, meditating about friendships, and like, has the season ended for our friendship, or is it still going? Because I know for me, I used to love to hold on to people because I had some abandonment issues in my past. So I felt like the friends and the people that came into my life, like I would cling on to them and, like, I would say smother. I think that's an appropriate word.
Yes, it is.
I would be like, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing now? What are you going to do in 10 minutes? Oh, who's going to be there? And they'd be like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
I had Miss Marlene. I had to take a break a few years back. Um, we have a friend. My group of friends here is four girls that I've been friends forever. But one of our friends is that friend that when she's going through something, Miss Marlene, you have to be there, right? You cannot leave that child alone because then she'll be calling you at 2, 3 in the morning, crying on the phone about the same thing going on, on and on. So we know that she's the type of person that, when she's going through something or she has, a loss in the family or something, she likes to be with people. She's not the alone time type of person.
Okay.
So I had to take a break and evaluate me, not her, because she was going through something. She just went through a divorce. And this is a couple that we thought was going to be together forever.
Mm.
And she got dealt a really, really horrible hand. And so she's breaking apart. She's going through all of this and crying. And, we had to be with her. Like, we will take turns and everything because she's that type of friend. And so there was a point where I was rolling my eyes, like, oh my God, again with the same freaking thing. You just said the same thing about freaking 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago. I get it. He did that, but come on, move on. I started feeling that way. And I told one of my friends, I said, look, I said, I cannot be here. I said, I need some time off. I said, so for 2 days, you're not gonna see me. Make up any excuse because I don't want to tell her right now why I'm doing this. And I went, Miss Marlene, I called, work, and I said, I'm not coming in for the next 2 days. I drove away. I ended up
What?
somewhere. I stayed there for 2 nights in a very beautiful tree house that I got on Airbnb. I stood there for 2 days meditating, getting all of my feelings out of my system, thinking about, why I was feeling this way and why I was, trying to snap because I was very, very close to snapping at her.
Mm.
And so I said it like I got those 2 days off. I did a little bit of hiking by myself, Miss Marlene, by myself.
Wow,
And
that's a
I
big
stood there
deal.
for 2 days, 2 nights, 3 days, and then I turned off my phone. Okay, my only one friend had the number of the place where I was staying at. If anything happened, she could call me there or whatever, but nobody else did. So I turned everything off and I just relaxed and I started, filtering everything up and why I was so close to snapping and telling her, like, come on, you're already, just get over it. Like, oh my God, I had enough of your crap because I was very close to saying those things. And those 2 days just gave me a new lease in life. I came back and, she was crying and everything, but I had more patience, more willingness to be there and listening to her and everything. She's better now, right? She's better now. And I finally told her what I did. And she said, I would have taken a week off from me if I would have been you.
Yeah, like 2 days would not have been enough.
Yeah. But it helped me, because before I would have not recognized that, right? I would have probably just snapped and say, I'm done. Do whatever you want. I'm sick of it.
Mhm.
But now I understand me and I understand my feelings. So I'm like, okay, okay, no, no, no. I have to walk away before I shoot your head off.
Yep. And that takes maturity, Miss Nexie. Yep. A lot of maturity. So the next one, we have to take breaks from technology, Miss Nexie.
Hmm.
From our phones, from the computer, from I, it, do people even have this any? Do people have beepers anymore?
No.
I don't know. I don't know because
Well, I went to a restaurant once and they gave me this little thing that beeped. But yeah, no, never mind that. Never mind that.
but anyways, you know what I'm talking about, from
Yes.
the phones, from texting, from the computers, you being reachable. We need to take a break from those things from time to time. Like, I love to go somewhere and my phone stays in my bag. It's there. I charge it, but it's not being powered on because I'm not talking to nobody, because this is my time for me to recharge my mind, my body, and my spirit. And you can't do that by, always talking to people. Hey, where are you? And what are you doing? No, you don't need to tell anybody what you're doing sometimes. You just, you need to, go, what is it called? Go rogue, go, undetected. Like,
Yes.
nobody should know where you are. You need to, like, fall off the map,
Yeah.
and
Fall off the
nobody
face
knows
of the
where
earth.
you are, and that's okay.
I've done that, Miss Marlene. I have done that. This past year, I did it 3 times. I went away. Nobody knew where I was at. I turned off my phone. I didn't take anything but just my phone because, sometimes, you need it for whatever. Um, and that's the only thing I took. And yeah, I was fully charged. I took a train. I went to a different country. I had an amazing time there. I was there for 3 nights, 4 days by the pool. I went into the jacuzzi. I had great food. I just stayed there for the whole 4 days, and then I came home, and everybody was like, "Where were you? Oh my God! I tried calling you, but your phone was off. Are you okay?" I'm like, "I'm perfectly fine. I had a great time."
Yep. And that is exactly what we need sometimes
Left
to.
the iPad, the my iPad, I left it, my computer, I left it, my laptop, I left everything home. The only thing I took, even my watch, I left it here.
Oh, Miss Nexie, and you know what is funny? When they were like, "Well, you were answering your phone, so we couldn't know where you were."
Yeah.
Exactly. And I was like, okay, that is the point. What do you mean, that's the
Yeah.
point? We need to know where you are. All no,
No,
you
you
need to
don't.
get used to. You need to get used to. Well, how are we supposed to know what you were doing? It's like
You're not
we
supposed
check.
to.
It was like, we checked social media, but we didn't see you post anything. I was like, yeah, that's the point of
Yeah.
a vacation. That is
Yes.
restorative. Yeah.
I I have been on vacations like on a weekend vacation with someone. I remember I went on a cruise, on a 4 day cruise. They live from where I'm at, and we went for 4 days. This person was on the phone the entire time. One of the people that went with us, she was on the phone taking pictures, texting. We were eating, and she was texting. We were eating, taking pictures, posting them, and I'm like, oh my God, put your phone
Yep.
away in my mind, right? So what
Yep.
I did, because it was getting me to the point where I was like, we were in the middle of talking, and then she'll be like, uh-huh, and then texting, uh-huh. And I'm like, I stopped talking. I stopped talking to her. I was just, I will eat, get my food, get a drink, and sit down with a good book, and that was it. And
Yep.
then we went to a show, and she's texting. And then we went to, the casino, like the boats have casino. We went there for a couple of hours, and she was playing with us and everything, but it was on the phone the whole time. So I'm
Mm.
thinking, wow, that must be so stressful. You haven't even enjoyed the scenery because you're glued to your phone.
But you know what, Miss Nexie? There are a lot of people, women and men included, even kids, that don't know how to relax anymore. They think that
Yes.
relaxation means taking selfies and posting
Posting.
reels and doing all of these things that includes everybody knowing every part of their day. Where did they eat? Where did you shop? Where are you? What hotel are you staying at? If it's not posted, they feel like it didn't happen. And I
Hmm.
think this is a good segue into the next point, that we also have to take breaks from social media.
Yep, we do.
Yeah.
We do. When I think on one of the times that I went, we had our sip and chat. And I was there by the beach enjoying the waves. And the only time I turned on my phone, Miss Marlene, was to do our sip and chat. That was
Oh,
the only time I turned it on. And then went back into off mode.
yep. Yep. I knew after the sip and chat, I was like, oh, I won't be talking to her for about 5 days.
But it's refreshing. And that's what people don't understand is that once you disconnect from them, if you do it like little by little, there's a point where you don't even reach for your phone.
Yep.
You don't even reach for your iPad or your computer. You don't even need them. Like you're so um relaxed that doesn't even cross your mind. You're enjoying what you're doing, the food that you're eating, the book that you can be reading, the scenery. You're enjoying the view. You are listening to those beautiful waves or whatever else is around you, or enjoying nature for that matter. But if you don't stop, it gets overwhelming that you need that phone in your hands, or you don't feel like you're complete.
Yep. And I am grateful that I was born during a time where there was no phones. Yep, I am that old. Everybody, that you there was the only time you got to a phone is when you got home and there was a house phone.
Yeah, or a
Yeah,
payphone. Remember the
yeah,
payphone?
or the payphone that you had to have your coins ready to put it in.
Yeah, on the corners. Yeah, I
Mhm.
remember those. I saw one the other day. I went to Mexico, and I saw a payphone. I was like, "Whoa, a payphone! Wow, how long it's been?" I even took a picture. I
Wow.
think.
Yeah, when I went to the UK back in 2017, that was the first time in many years that I saw a payphone, because here in Florida, I have not seen a payphone since probably the late 90s.
Here in Cali too.
Yeah.
I haven't. I don't. We used to have three in the corner when I first moved to this area in the 90s. We used to have three by the gas station, which is probably like a couple of blocks away from me. We used to have like a booth, like three of them back to back, and they're gone. So I don't have them there. We used to have another one by the supermarket. It's gone. So I haven't seen, those payphones in a very long time. And when we went there, we saw one and we were like taking pictures next to it. We're like, oh, we're just gonna take him for just, to go down memory lane one of these days. On how cool it was when he had to call someone from the payphone and to a house phone, not to a cell phone, to a house phone.
Yeah, and I always ask, like, do people even have house phones anymore? Very few people have house phones now.
Yes.
Yeah,
Just our
very few.
grandmas. I think our grandmas
Yeah.
do have
Grandma's,
house
yep.
ones.
So, Miss Nexie, taking breaks from social media, it's important because for me on the side, because I am a content creator of multiple channels, I have to take a break because people who do not create content don't understand that, I can't speak for everybody. I'm speaking for myself. I pour a lot of myself into my social media. That's the researching, it's the thumbnails, it's the titles, creating the content, plus the live streams, reading comments, and so much stuff. Even on my other channels like vlogging, every channel that I have is different things. So I'm pouring so much into it that I got to take a break from it because the lines start to become blurred when it comes to social media, that you feel like your whole life will turn into social media,
It's all
support,
consuming.
yeah, supporting others, doing things for yourself, that you have to be like, no, today is not going to be social media. Today is going to be my family or my friend or this person or that person, or just focus on me. And that is okay. I had to give myself the permission that, yes, I am a content creator, but also this is not my 100% of my life. I have other things that are just as important to me. So I need to spend time with those things as well so that I can be okay. And that's one of the reasons I feel like so many people who are content creators burn out, because they don't take a day off from reading the endless mails and spam and negative comments. It's a lot that is involved, that other people who don't create content, like, it's exhausting, the amount of nasty comments that you get on a regular basis, Miss Nexie. I
Oh,
mean, people telling you, "Oh, I didn't like your hair. Oh, you look ugly. You need to put makeup on, or your food looks nasty. And why do you say that? You don't know what you're talking about." I mean, it goes on and on and
yeah.
on.
I can only imagine because I am not a content creator, Miss Marlene, but I was very consumed. And you remember this last year. I told you, I'm done. I'm only going to support people with content that I like, that I appreciate, and that are making a difference. But even then, Miss Marlene, I had to back away. You notice I'm not on social media a lot, and I'm not on YouTube as often as I used to be, because it got to the point where supporting one after the other after the other, you had no time.
Hmm.
And you weren't even listening anymore because you're so, I gotta go, we're gonna go to this other channel, we're gonna go to this other one. You get so consumed by it that your entire day is gone by the time you realize it's midnight, right?
Yep.
When you're off, of course. So I said, no, I'm done. There's only going to be a handful of people that I'm still going to go and, support if I can and I want to, because I like their content, right? So, but if I can, I'm just going to support this handful of people and that's it. And it's better because it has given me, more time to relax, more time to think, more time to enjoy the content I'm following.
Yeah, because it gets to the point where you're not even enjoying the content. You feel like you have to, like,
Hmm.
every time somebody goes live or
Yeah.
every time someone has a video, you have to support it. And I had to learn that it was okay. I don't have to support every single video or live that everybody puts out. But, and I have to start, like, putting things on a list, like the people who I really like their content, I rock with them and things like that, that I put it on a rolling thing. Like, I go through the line, and once a week instead of every day, once a
Yeah.
week. I make sure I go and I tap in. I'll replay a live, I'll play a video, watch a few shorts, and then that's it. Because uh, um I had, like, social media guilt, which a lot of people don't think about those things. But I had a lot of guilt because I felt like I should be supporting everybody's stuff. But, my therapist helped me with that, because she's like, "But aren't you a content creator too?" I was like,
Yeah.
so she's like, "So if you're always supporting, when are you going to be able to make your own content?" So
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
was like,
I
okay,
am
I need to
not.
learn balance. I was like, help me.
And even then, right, you had to relearn that. You had to say, hey, wait a minute. I'm overdoing this. Like, I know I want people supporting me because I, I appreciate that. I'm sure you said that, but there is a point where I have to stop supporting everybody else so I can concentrate on me and my content.
Yes. Mhm.
And for me, it was more like there were so many people I was supporting and helping and doing things here and there that there was no time to really look for the things that I liked, right? And some content, I'm like, well, I'm not really into that. I'm just supporting because, we know them or whatever. And sometimes that's not even good because you're not actually looking for the content that you like, you enjoy.
Yeah, you feel like you're doing it just because you have to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I took a break and I'm just, again, supporting the people that I like and I enjoy what I'm doing. It's not overwhelming anymore. It's not like, oh my God, I have to. It's more like I want to.
Yeah. And there's a word of caution with this, for the younger people that, I mean, people under 18, parents, aunts, uncles, other people, take note, like, what are those kiddos posting on their social media feed?
Hmm.
Who are they friends with? What are they talking about? You need to be looking at that too, because it's a different time. It's not like when we were kids. That's a part of you know the life now of a youth. There's
Hmm.
peer pressure if you don't have a social media platform. You're weird if you
If
don't
you
have
don't,
that. Yeah.
yes,
So,
yes, exactly. That's
um,
why, my daughter, sorry to cut in, Miss Marlene, but my daughter just, my first grandchild. And my daughter says, we're not going to give her anything, like phones or tablets or anything. Like, she is a year and 4 months now. And my daughter doesn't give her any of the tablets or her phone. She puts, like Sesame Street and things like that on TV, and the baby watches them, but that's about it. They play together, they go out, they walk, they do all those things, but she doesn't give her anything that, can get her hooked on. She wants to wait until she gets older and has a need for a device. So no devices for my grandbaby. And I
wow,
like that because
I
that's how my
like
kids grew
that.
up.
That's a conscious choice, you
Oh
know,
yeah. She's a
to be
very
that way.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's because, like you, Miss Marlene, kids of the 90s, there was no phone, no cell phones and stuff. So, same thing. You guys don't need all those things. You guys can be without them. It's nice to have them, but it's not a need. It's more of a,
Yes.
okay, I want it.
Yeah, I want it, but I don't have to have it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
Well,
Miss Nexie, let's get through these last few points. Okay, so why do we need breaks? That's the question. That's the reason for this conversation, and it's going to be different for everybody. I'm going to speak on why I think that people need breaks. I think people need breaks because people need to miss you. I believe that you need breaks for your mental health, and I especially for your physical health, because I know for me, most of the time I don't sleep like I need to. So I need to get a break so that I can literally just sleep and not get interrupted.
yes. Also, Miss Marlene, you also need a break so that you can miss people, so that you can say, hey, I haven't seen, oh, wow, it's been a week since I haven't spoken to so and so. I haven't seen so and so. Or, oh my God, I haven't seen my husband in 3 days. That is so nice. Or even the kiddos, right? God, I
Yeah.
haven't seen them in 2 days. Yay. I missed them. Sometimes you need a break also to get reacquainted with yourself and with your likes and dislikes, because everything gets blurry when you are in the moment all the time and the go 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 go. You don't know yourself sometimes, and you don't listen, to your body, to your mind. as I've said before. You need this break because you need to also desensitize from the day to day. You need a break so that your mind doesn't have to think about anything else. Just be in the moment with yourself and reevaluate the way you have been leading your life. I think that's the reason why sometimes we need those breaks.
Yes. And for me, like I said, we need breaks to rest. We need breaks to relax. Also to decompress,
Mhm.
to reset. And this is one that we don't really think about, but we need breaks to process our feelings,
Mhm.
because sometimes you'll be in your feelings and you'll be snapping at other people, and it has absolutely nothing to do with them. Like, you got some unresolved stuff that you need to work on, however it is that let out your feelings, whether it's through crying or journaling, exercise. Everybody has a way to get those feelings out and to deal with them, however it is. But you need to give yourself time and space that is uninterrupted to process. Like, even ask yourself the questions like, am I okay? And if I'm not okay, why not?
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly, Miss Marlene. And I think again, everybody has their own breaking point, right? Everybody has to have that point in where you say, wait, why is it that I'm feeling this way? Or why is it that I'm snapping at everything and everybody? Why is it that I'm not enjoying just sitting here with a good book or a good TV show or a good music or something? Why is it that I'm not enjoying that used to be so, enjoyable to me? And we have to stop and think sometimes that you're not doing this for everybody else. You're doing this for you. And it's needed. It's needed. I didn't realize how much you need that break, how much you need to sometimes be on your own feelings, like you said, and you need to be with them alone so that you can understand why is it that you're feeling the way that you do.
Mhm.
And it's
And
always good to have the me time. Pamper yourself, even if it's just a good, plate of food, a good walk in the park on the beach, a good ice cream by yourself. It has to be something that you can do alone so that you can think,
mhm.
so that you can
Yeah.
process, the life again that you have been leading, because a lot of times we don't do that. And by the
Yeah.
time we reach a certain age, we have regrets. So it's always good to, reevaluate ourselves. Make sure that we're really living our lives, our best lives, like Miss Marlene says.
Yes, Miss Nancy, and also I agree with everything that you said. But in processing your feelings, one thing that I used to have problems with is having this need to feel like I had to be perfect.
Mm.
I have to be strong, because many people are raised that way. You don't cry because that shows your weakness, and you never let people see you sweat, and all these things that were perpetuated onto us, these things that were fed into our mind, that, oh, this is how a good woman acts, or this is how a good man acts, and they're always strong and they're always tough, and they don't.
Impossible things.
Yeah, it's all impossible. And those are the reasons why people snap. And I think the reason why people are not okay is because they feel like they need to be this cookie cutter, perfect model, perfect specimen of a human being. And nobody is that. Nobody is
No.
perfect. It's the ones that actually stand up for themselves and say, I'm not perfect, and also I'm not okay right now. Because it took me a really long time to be able to say that and to not feel guilty. Like I'll literally be like, I'm really messed up today, and I'm like, yep. And I'm like, yeah, and I'll be talking to myself, having a whole conversation. Yep, we are messed up today. So, so what are we gonna do? Oh, we're gonna sleep. Okay, let's sleep in. But I have to go through those steps and have that conversation with myself in order to get through it. Because if I don't and I ignore it, because that's what I used to do, oh, just push it down. Oh, I'll address that later. I'll talk about that. Oh, that's not really important and whatever, and make excuses. And then you have a meltdown or snap and do something that you're going to regret when you should have just said, I'm not okay. I need to get away or do whatever it is so that I can process my feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Exactly, Miss Martin. Couldn't I have said it better myself?
Yep. And we got two more points. So, and also, like you said, Miss Nexie, to spend time alone um, for our mental health. And this is one that a lot of people don't talk about, but I will.
Uh-oh.
And that is, you have to take breaks in order to connect spiritually. I'm not a person to, say how people should feel and what's your spirituality and whatever. But whatever it is that you believe, you got to have time to process things, however you need to get support, whether it's through your meditation, it's through friendship, it's through giving back, it's through your praise and worship, whatever it is that you do to feel connected. That is what you need to do to have time, and you cannot have that when you're not alone.
It's true. Very, very true. You need that, even if it is scheduling, as you say, put it in your phone. This time every day at this hour, I'm going to do an hour of this, right? I'm going to get connected with my spirituality or whatever beliefs I have. I'm going to schedule it so that I can turn it into a habit, because that's the one
Mhm.
thing that sometimes we stop too soon, and it doesn't turn into something that we do constantly, because we break that cycle that it's needed to turn it into a habit. And I have had, I believe in God, I worship, I do all of that. But there is times, Miss Marlene, that I've gotten so busy that I haven't gone to church. you
Mhm.
know I haven't gone for like a month or two, and then I'm thinking like, what happened? So you're right, we have to schedule these things, we have to make time for that, because again, it's for us. If that's what we enjoy, then we have to make time for that.
Mhm. And that's why we want to have this conversation, because a lot of times we'll make it about everybody outside of us. And yes, while we're, responsible adults and we have other people that we're responsible for and things like that, but also we have to do the things that we need. Like, and you have to remind yourself, I am loved. I'm
Hmm.
valuable. And because I value and love myself, because I'm my own best friend, I deserve to have time that's just for me.
Hmm.
I
It's
deserve. Hmm.
nothing wrong with that, Miss Marlene. Although I did tell you, it took me a very long time because I forgot about me, but it took me a long time to get to the point where I'm at right now, and that it is all about me. It's my moment, it's my time. And I'm going to do everything possible to take care of me, because I already raised the family. I already did that. And they were, my priority have been my priority for the past 20 years. So now this is my time. It's about me now.
Exactly, Miss Nancy. And like Joker says here, there has to be time that we should let ourselves loose like little literal children, you know?
Yes.
Yeah. Like I have my time, like I have times where people look at me and I let myself go back to being a child, and I'll go to the park and I'll just run like a banshee, just screaming, flailing my arms, flapping my whatever I feel like doing at that moment to release my whatever. Sometimes I just go and I'll scream and people will look at me. I don't care that you're looking at me. I don't care if it makes you feel uncomfortable. And that is one of the things that other people don't like. Some people, they like to keep things controlled. And if you feel like you need to scream, if that's going to keep you out of a mental hospital or a medical hospital or off of medication, you have to know yourself and what you need. And there are times where you need to scream at the top of your lungs. You
Yes,
need
you
to
do.
run. You
Yes,
need
you
to
do.
have a bowl full of ice cream.
Miss Marlene, there is this pillow that I have here. You know, we have our special needs little ones that sometimes, oh man, I have a pillow. I come to my room, I like it, and I scream on that pillow. The poor thing.
Oh.
But it's needed sometimes. You have to do whatever
Mhm.
you have to do to be okay. And that's the whole point of this conversation,
Yep. And
to
Miss
be
Nixie,
healthy, to be okay.
yeah, and Miss Nexie, I think it's important too to show, your family the meltdowns too. Like everybody's asking you for something. I tell them, like, I'll go and I'll have a whole fit. No, 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 no. I don't want it. I don't want it. And I'll stay on my feet and roll around on the ground. And they're like, "What's wrong? What is
You're
what in
embarrassing
the
me.
world?" Like, like, like you're acting like a toddler. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. But what are you? No, I'm not. But what are you?
You know who has a field day with that? He'll say, "Stop it, mommy, stop it."
Oh yeah, mine will say, "You're being very naughty."
No, I've done it before. He says, "Stop it, mommy, stop it, stop it." I'm
Yep.
like, okay, it's working then. Yeah, he's not throwing
Yeah.
a tantrum anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Some people should join us, if you're having a tantrum or things. Like, I'm telling you, Miss Nexie, I don't know when's the last time you did it, but I recommend it. Go somewhere and just scream at the top of your lungs for like a whole minute. I mean, I felt so free afterwards. I was like,
Yes.
ah,
Yep.
yeah,
I do it in the car sometimes. On
yep.
my way somewhere, I just
Yeah. And then
sigh.
you're like, yeah, that's better.
Now I can deal with the people that I'm going to visit right now.
Exactly, Miss Nexie. Um, I wanted to say, a great topic. Thank you so much for, joining me on today's topic. And shout out to everybody who is in the chat today. If you're new here, feel free to subscribe. We'd love to have you over here on the Sip and Chat again. We do this every Thursday around 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we'd love to see you guys back next Thursday. Miss
Yeah.
Nexie, any final words?
No, Miss Marlene, just thank you because the topic is perfect. You know, we needed to discuss this. We needed to, let go. We needed to talk about the reason why you and I are so into taking breaks, are so often doing it. And it's, so people can understand that it is okay to have a break for yourself, that it's nothing wrong with needing that. It's part of who you are. You have to take breaks to reconnect with self. So I just thank you for having me, Miss Marlene. Great topic as always. And people, don't forget to hit that like, whether you're here
Yes.
now or on the replay, and subscribe to
Mhm.
Miss Marlene.
Yes.
Thank you
And
for your support.
thank you so much, everyone, for your support and hope to see you all next week. Thank you for
Yeah.
tuning in to the Sip and Chat. This is Marlene of Love Marlene 411, where we sip and we chat and we talk about important topics because we believe that when we work on the love we have for ourselves, it can trickle down to all of the other relationships that we have, and we can show up with love to others. So appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Miss
Yeah,
Marlene.
thank you,
Bye.
everybody. See you guys next week.